This show is brought to you by HostBaby.com, web hosting for musicians.
Episode 37 of Music Marketing Monday. Here's the question. How can you anticipate how many people are going to show up to your next gig? How do you know how much merch to bring to sell? That was a question posed by one of our most loyal listeners, and we answer that as best we can on this episode. So buckle up, stay tuned. Here we go.
Information, inspiration, motivation for the modern musicpreneur.
Time to start your week right.
Here it comes. Music Marketing Monday with your host, Bob Baker,
Mr. Buzz Factor,
and Billy Gryzak.
The Music Marketing Mind.
Ready? Are you sure?
Set.
Here it comes. Swing, baby.
Hello, I am Billy Gryzak, the Music Marketing Mind, and I'm about to get out my crystal ball, because that is probably what you will need to answer the following question. Oh, who's that in the corner? No, that is not an apparition. That is not a ghost. That is, of course,
Bob Baker, Mr. Buzz Factor. I think that's my cue to say something, is it not?
Yes, it is. Now, turn out the lights. Hold hands.
What is the deal with that accent? It sounds like some kind of a mysterious Dracula.
Well, I was thinking gypsy palm reader, and I didn't go, oh, this is Madame Gryzak. I didn't think that would work, so I was going for this guy. He seemed like he'd be good. Anyway, I bet
it's good to have you back, man. You kind of dropped off the face of the earth for like a week or something for a good reason. Do you want to mention that just to let people know you're okay? Because you're pretty open on Facebook and Twitter about what's going on in your life. But you had a little you were like down and out with some kind of thing.
Dude, man, I did a gig, and on the way back from the gig, this sounds gross, but my head started swelling. I mean, like the skin, like in my scalp, and I was feeling really crappy, and I didn't even make it home. I actually went to like an emergency room or something, because I thought like I was dying on the way home. And as it turned out, I had like this I don't know, I picked up some kind of an infection that was like swelling my lymph glands and stuff, and wow. And got into my sinuses and everything. So I literally was in bed for the better part of a week, just being force fed antibiotics and stuff. So yeah, the rumors of my demise and early decline and death are greatly exaggerated. I am back. And
you're propped up?
Yeah.
Again?
That's good. Right, man. They've rebuilt me. They have the technology. That's right. So I'm doing fantastic now. It's all gone, and I'm back on the rock and roll train, man. So thank you for everybody that was concerned, and sorry that we missed a week of this podcast, and I apologize for missing a week of the Music Marketing Monday, the MMM chat, but I'm back and better than ever. So thank you for asking, Bob.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I'm glad that we've got people who have been taking advantage of that SpeakPipe option that they have to send us a voice message question, and we actually have 3 of them, and we're going to see how it goes here. But we actually might do one a week for the next 3 weeks. There's one thing I wanted to mention real quickly too. That I don't want to delay getting into the meat of this, because this is a real great question about how to anticipate who's going to show up to your gigs and all that, and how to judge or gauge. But we've often over the months mentioned that. This is like a car talk for music, and so and of course, Car Talk is the long running NPR show with Tom and Ray. But did you hear that Tom actually passed away a week or so ago?
What?
Yeah, Tom. Yeah, there's no more. And I didn't realize they haven't done a new show in like 2 years. And I think this guy, he was actually in his like late 70s or something. And he apparently passed away from complications from Alzheimer's or something related to that. But they've been running reruns. And so I guess that their run is over. But I just wanted to sort of pay tribute because, we haven't mentioned it. I loved that show and I loved their interaction. And we've often mentioned how we feel, kind of pick up on that vibe. But that's an end of an institution, and so just wanted to mention that.
I feel bad about talking about faking my death now. I'm sorry.
You just try to tap into that sympathy.
Gosh,
we don't want to duplicate what they're doing that much.
No.
Yes.
Well, really, guys, I mean, yeah, my sympathy, condolences, and my heartfelt sense of oh my out there. Wow, I did not know that. Well, thanks for bringing us down, Bob. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. 2 references to death. Now let's have some happy thoughts.
Happy show, yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I didn't realize those guys have been around for so long. So maybe we can follow their footsteps and be around for another couple of decades doing the show into our 70s.
Yeah, that's great. Then I can die for real. Excellent. Thanks, Bob.
It's all going to happen to all of us eventually.
3 references to death. Boy, we have the greatest show ever, man.
Let's talk about a guy, one of our loyal listeners who's very much alive and kicking. Jason Didner. He's been like somebody in your Facebook group and a regular listener to this show. And you want to mention who? I mean, just say anything you know about him, and then we'll play his clip, I guess.
He's not dead.
He's alive.
Anyway, Jason, Jungle Gym Band, junglegymband.com. I think that's the website. But anyway, no, this guy has been really an inspiration for us. He's always asking great questions, and he's very active on our Facebook group, Music Marketing Mind, which I definitely encourage you all to join. It's free. And so what I did was when I wasn't feeling well, I had posted up a little thing. It said, if anybody wants to be on the show and ask a question through SpeakPipe, please do so. And Jason, of course, jumped on that opportunity immediately with a question he's been pretty active with on all social media, because I guess this is a burning desire to know the answer to this question. Now, I'm not sure that we have a definitive answer, but I am, as I alluded to at the beginning of the show, getting out my crystal ball now. I'm dusting it off, and we're going to see what we can find out. So here's Jason, and take it away, buddy.
Hey, Bob and Billy, this is Jason Didner from the Jungle Gym Jam, a kids and family music band. And my question is, how do we get better at forecasting how many people are going to come to the show, how many people are going to buy merch? It seems like it can be a little erratic sometimes. Even when I'm very active on social media, sometimes I don't get the buzz, and that makes me think that I'm not going to get the turnout, and sometimes that's true. And other times I don't get that buzz before a show, and then the turnout is extraordinary, and I ended up having not brought enough merch, and I sell it out. Good problem to have, of course. In other cases, I have good buzz going on social media, and then the turnout bears that out, and other time the buzz looks very good, and then you just don't get the turnout. So I'm wondering, how can we get better at reading the tea leaves of what's happening with our campaigns and leading up to a show, to basically get a better handle on who's actually coming without annoying the people with continued "Are you coming?" questions. So your thoughts on that would definitely be appreciated. Thank you guys for the great work you're doing.
So thanks again for Jason for leaving that great audio message. And I think he mentioned at the beginning of it, junglegymband.com appears to be his website. And he, like you, Billy, is a children's family music artist. And so, yeah, this is a tough one. And I had a lot of thoughts going through my mind as I was listening to his question. This is a tough one to pin down, because the main reason I think is because you're dealing with human beings.
This was your first mistake.
What's dealing with human beings?
Yeah, really,
as opposed to machines or whatever. Yeah.
Machines are way more predictable. See, that's the whole problem. See, people as a whole are not generally very predictable, and so let me stop there, because I'm dying. Oh, there's another reference.
Don't mess in that again.
Of curiosity to find out what your thoughts are, because I have my thoughts, but I know you have yours, which is kind of,
yeah. So I'm thinking, actually, since we mentioned the machine thing, I think that's maybe where the future of music marketing is growing a fan base of cyborgs. So maybe that could be a new book I could work on. But in the meantime, we're dealing with people as fans, and they are just unpredictable. And so, there are the only ways that you can sort of know, I'm trying to think, is you can ask people to RSVP by email. That's one way to get a gauge on who's coming. There's the Facebook event pages, where people indicate that yes, they're coming, maybe they're coming, but I don't know about you, but I found that to be an incredibly unreliable thing. Like half the people that say they're definitely coming don't show up. It seems like most of the people that say maybe, at least in my experience, don't show up. And then there's all these people who show up that never indicated that they were in any other form. And so it's just really unpredictable. You could use one of those, the services like Evite, again, to get people to, it's more of a social way of RSVPing, and they get to see who else is coming, I guess. There's some similarities to Facebook events, but it's different. But I don't know. Like, here's the thing. I can give you a couple examples from my own history, and then you can share your thoughts here. But years ago, I mentioned maybe all here and there that I used to do stand-up comedy. And so I used to work at the Funny Bones comedy clubs here in St. Louis. And I remember having a number of conversations with the people that worked there. Like when people would call to reserve tables for the Funny Bone, they didn't have to put down a credit card. They didn't have to buy a ticket. They just called in and said, I want to reserve a table for 10 or whatever. And they always booked twice the number of seats that they actually had, or took up to two times the number of seats that they actually had with their reservations before they cut them off, because they knew when people weren't putting money down, half of the people that said they were coming would actually show up. I found that to be an amazing insight into human nature.
I agree. Yeah.
And so people are unpredictable. I'll also tell you a couple of years ago, Pookie, who's my girlfriend, she and I perform as a duo a lot. And it was June of one year. We did one of our first sort of wine bar kind of gigs, out. We played a lot of churches and stuff on Sundays. So this was very different for us. And all the stars aligned. We had 60 or 70 people who showed up this first, this debut that we had playing out at a bar kind of thing. Although it was a wine bar, it was a classy place. It was kind of small, so 60 or 70 people. I mean, this packed.
It's like Woodstock, man.
Yeah, it was. It was a great night. Everybody said, "When are you going to do it again?" And so we purposely waited. Didn't want to repeat it, try to duplicate it the next month. So we waited till September to book another night. It was a weekend night, and the bar said, we're going to staff up because you guys really bring out a crowd. And we did pretty much all the same things that we did before to promote it, by email, on Facebook, talking to friends, talking it up. And I think we had a total of 9 people in the bar the entire night. And 4 of them came to see us, and the other 3 were just people that walked in off the street.
Not Woodstock.
Not Woodstock. And I can't put my finger on how to determine that or predict that. So I'm sort of a little bit at a loss. And I think maybe you have to let go of the being attached to that outcome, just being prepared. I always think bring more merch than you probably need, and it's okay to go back home with some, but it'd be a worse scenario if a whole lot of people showed up and you didn't have enough. So I don't know. That's sort of maybe some more thoughts will come to me as you give your input here, but that's sort of where I'm coming from here. You're dealing with human beings, and it's always going to be unpredictable.
Well, the sad part is that the climate, especially in bar, maybe sometimes restaurant situations, is that they all want you to draw a certain amount of people. You know what I mean? I don't agree with that scenario. I believe that the way that it should be is an artist should go into a place to add value to a place, whether it's a concert venue, a bar, a restaurant, whatever. And the venue, in my opinion, is the one that should be promoting, because they're the one taking the risk. And they should be promoting to bring people in and or add value to the customers they already have. Anybody that the band brings in is like a bonus, but it shouldn't be expected. Now, I know that that's not the way things are, but in my opinion, that's the way things should be, okay? Because then I think what would happen is everybody wins, because the band can then focus on being the best band, the best artist they can be, and putting on the best show instead of being distracted about trying to have to be a promoter as well as a music artist. You know what I'm saying? And the funny thing is that I've noticed that the higher up on the food chain you are as an artist, it seems like the less you have to do insofar as being a marketing and promoting machine for the most part. So, an example, let's say a venue is going to book a band, let's say for there's two bands. We use this as an example. Like one they're going to pay $250 for, and one they're going to pay $1,200 for. Okay. Now, in your opinion, which band, which artist do you think the venue wants to actually make sure they're successful with?
Obviously, the higher priced, but one they're paying more for.
Right. And from my experiences, which is like one of these catch-22 things is the band they pay the most money for, they're really going to do everything that they can possibly do to make sure people show up. Whereas if they get a lower price band, my experiences are sometimes they don't even put posters up because they're only paying $250. But then they get ticked off at the band because they didn't bring in 1,000 people. You know what I mean? So, wow, that's a messed up situation right there. Don't you agree?
Yes, it is. And one thing, I don't want to interrupt you here, but I guess I don't recall if Jason actually specified why he was so needing to know. Like he seemed to be, you said he's actually asked this question in other forums. And so what is his motivation? I don't recall him spelling that out. Is it so he knows how much merch to bring? Is it so he can tell the venue how many people to expect? What's that underlying reason that he needs to know that might play a part in this?
Right. Well, the questions he's been asking lately, one that was a really good one was, let's pretend we're playing a gig in a town we've never been to before. How do we get people to show up? So I think it's just one of those things where you'd like to have an audience to perform to. You'd like to have an audience to sell merch to, and you want to show the venue that you're, doing well so that you can get booked back there, I would presume, right? Okay, right. So, and then the other question he asked was, oh gosh, no, I just totally forgot. It sounded like you were going to comment on that. Did you have a comment?
Oh, I was just going to say, if it's to let a venue, I think you kind of spoke to this, but if it's to let the venue know how many people the band is going to bring out, I would be sort of reluctant to guarantee anything. I would say, well, at a previous show we did this, like, and make it clear that I'm not saying we're going to do, this mileage may vary. I think you could just more emphasize what you're going to do to promote it than actually giving out a specific number. I'd be very hesitant to say that. I'd rather under promise and over deliver than to raise the expectations and go, oh, this was a disappointment.
But it's still kind of like the conventional wisdom with a question mark there from the bookers though, because like for instance, I've been using a service. I'll give them a plug. I don't mind. It's called Bam Ding. And Bam Ding is a service that's created by a fellow we both know, Chris Seth Jackson, who formerly from howtoRunABand.com. He's kind of gotten away from that. And he has this great service where it's an automated email booking service. Are you familiar with that, Bob?
I know that I knew that he started this thing, but I admit it. I need to know a little bit more about it.
Right. Well, actually, I'm a member and I use it. Okay. But one of the things that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, not to Chris, but to the bookers, is when he was setting this up, he has like this template that you use to create an email. And one of the questions that was recommended by the buyers that he put in there was, what is your draw? So in other words, you get these automated emails that say like, hi, my band would like to play at your place. We sound like this band. We do this, we do that. And we usually draw X amount of people. And I looked at that and I talked to him. I said, dude, please don't put that in there. That's horrible, And he goes, nope, that's what all the bookers want. You know what I mean? So right there, that puts a lot of pressure on a band, because let me tell you an experience of mine. You're going to love this one. And I think Jason will appreciate this too.
It's story time.
Ladies and gentlemen, once upon a time, I just played children's music, and then I realized that the children's music market was kind of drying up in the winter. So I do most of my bookings now in the spring and summer, do a lot of fairs and festivals and blah, blah, blah. So in order to continue to buy food and pay my car, payments and stuff, I decided I would play non-children's music in the winter with my son. I have a band called Big and Tall, bigandtallband.com. And we booked a show at a bar that we would go to open mics a lot, and they liked us. They booked us. By the way, open mics, that's something we should tackle on a show. And so then we got a gig. Now check this out. Because I'm so active on marketing and what I do, and I do the things I tell people to do. I managed to get 30 people out on a Friday night to see our band, which was pretty good. Little tiny bar, probably smaller than the place you played, and 30 people that have never once ever been in that bar. I guarantee it. I would consider that a flaming success, wouldn't you?
Yeah, a flaming success.
Yeah, I mean, 30 people into his bar. Now, it's his job to make his bar experience so awesome that those 30 people come back even when I'm not there. See, I've done my job, right? But here's the interesting thing. That particular night, one of his regulars showed up for some reason. Like, there must have been something else going on. There was no regulars. So there were 31 people in the bar. And he said that it was a bad night, and he didn't know if he's going to have us back again or not because we only had 31 people. And
but 30 people that never ever been there before.
Right. So see that, and I'm not really sure what the moral of the story here is exactly, but here's an example where I did my job. I brought in a lot of people. That's a lot of people for a band first time into a place, especially people that don't go to that bar. And I did it all through social media. You know what I'm saying? And it was still considered a failure. So, maybe what you should do is think about the places you're playing a little bit more.
It's funny you should mention that, because the wine bar that we played, which I have not named, it was in St. Louis, but there's a lot of wine bars here, so avoid mentioning names. But that night that we had the 60 or 70 people there, they were not anticipating us because it was our first time in there. They did not think that we were going to, they thought it was going to be an average night, so they staffed for an average night, and they were swamped. There was like one server and one bartender or something, like taking care of the whole room. And so there were people waiting a long time for drinks and for food. And so if they had another server, they probably could have made a lot more money. But the bar owner that night, his main comment to us, even though he did say, "Hey, you brought a lot of people out, that's cool," repeatedly he would point out like 3 people in the room who just came and were drinking water. There's like 3 people here that they haven't even ordered a drink yet. Yet all these other people were waiting for drinks and not getting them in a timely manner, and they were losing money. So his focus was on what was wrong with this picture instead of what was right about it.
Oh, don't even get me started with that. That's a conversation for another show. Ask me sometimes about the time Will and I went out to a really, really nice place. We were invited to go there and try to help them to find out what's wrong with their business. Seriously, the guy in the band, his daughter bought a bar, dance hall kind of thing, and they're losing money. And they asked us out because we know a lot about stuff, to see if we could help them. I didn't even want to talk to them afterwards because the things that were going on there. That's a conversation for another show about how venues that are crying the blues are seriously bringing it on themselves, and we could talk about that sometimes.
Right. Another issue,
Yeah,
but we digress. So there's a lot of factors here in determining how whether it's successful or not, or who's going to be happy about it. Blah blah.
All right,
blah.
here's my thoughts on how to get people out to places. Okay, we've touched on a lot of these before. All right. First of all, you need to do your homework. You need to visit the venue if possible, and get to know people if possible. That'll help. Find out what other bands are playing there. And now in his case, Jason's doing kids music. So, if he's playing in a town he's never been to before, he might want to consider joining, meetup.com and setting like a Mommy and Me meetup or something, and find out if there's any other groups in the area, daycares or, play date groups or, schools, literally, that they're looking for field trips, anything. There's so many ways that you can actually, reach out to different groups of people, homeschoolers, that are looking for something to do as a group, and reach out to them. Okay. That's like if you're in a new area, you've never played in before. And I think those things would be pretty cool. Also, if you can, why are you playing this new town? Do you have a fan there? I think that's really important. If you're going to reach out and work in a new area you've never played before, Why are you playing in that area? Do you have at least one or two fans there? You know, you need your core fan in the area you're going to go to, or find a core fan that would actually be considered your local mouthpiece, or your street team that would put up some posters, or, you know, visit the PTAs or anything, and let people know that this great kids band is going to be playing there. Now, I'm focusing this on kids music right now because that's what Jason does, but I think people that do non-kids music can get the idea, and transpose that into their situation. Don't you, Bob?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you're playing in your own area, I'm a firm believer. I disagree totally in that saturation thing. Everybody says you shouldn't play, you know, in your area over and over and over again. I couldn't disagree more. I think people are creatures of habit. I'm old school, and I believe in the house gig. And I believe that if you've got a gig where you're playing there like every Saturday at 7:00, you know, people start to know that you're going to be there every Saturday at 7:00, and it definitely increases the amount of people that will come because they want to be part of a scene. They want to be part of a group. It's a happening. It's just not, what are we going to do this week? You know, that's one of the reasons I think why people don't show up to your gigs is because they're so erratic and they happen at odd times and at different weeks and at different months and blah, blah, blah. I also believe that if you want to have 50 people show up at your gigs, you need to have about 2,000 fans that would show up to your gigs. It's kind of like the double booking thing. You know what I mean? Like the funny bone. If you only have 50 fans, don't expect 50 people to show up. If you have 50 fans, maybe 1 to 5 people will show up at any given night. So I also think that's, another thing. Another thing you can do too to get people to come out on a regular basis is loyalty programs, punch cards, free gifts. In the kids world, something I used to do that I haven't done in a long time, I would put up a coloring page and I tell their kids to color it and bring it to the show, and then we'd have a coloring contest at the show. How can you change that for adults? You know what I mean? So these are some different things you can do to bring people out either in a new market or in your established market. Would you like to expand?
No, those are all good things. I mentioned I had a thought earlier about, because I know Jason's original thing, I mean, he didn't specifically ask how to get more people out, but everybody needs to know that anyway. It's tied into that. He was wanting to know how to predict it, you know?
Right.
And I was going to say, you couldn't do this for every gig, but the only way to really know is to charge and have people buy tickets ahead of time, because major, you know, concerts, theaters, movie, you know, whatever, when people pay ahead of time for their reserved seat or whatever, you know, you don't have half the people showing up who paid for it. It's like, you know, 98% or 99%. You know, you might have a couple odd people that have emergencies or something that come up. So really, that's, if you had to have a way to know who was going to show up and the numbers, you know, have an admission fee and have an advance ticket type of thing, and then say, you know, if there's any seats left, then you maybe can buy them at the door. And there will be people waiting to the last minute to buy them at the door for a higher price. But yeah, we didn't really touch on that, and so I just wanted to mention it. You probably only could do that. You really couldn't do that with a bar necessarily. But if you're doing like your own show, like you rent a venue and you're doing like a special event, then you would be able to do that and know in advance, have a good idea who's going to show up. It's really the only way.
Well, there are a couple of ways you could do it with bars. Like, for instance, if you had, like, let's say a new product out, like, say, a new T-shirt or a new CD or a new something, and people could order the shirt and pay for it at a special lower price, but they have to pick it up at the venue the night you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a way to get people out to almost any event. And you can gauge how many people are going to show up because you sold 10 hats, you sold 50 T-shirts, you sold 100 CDs, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
with services like Kanaki out there, Kanaki.com, or even discmakers.com, where they do one-off CDs and 50 at a time, 20 at a time, that could work as well. Now, merch. How much merch to bring to any given gig? I just say you bring as much as you possibly can, and set up the nicest table that you possibly can all the time, and be prepared to sell whatever your, you know, max amount is. Let's say or your medium, you know, maybe at some shows you sell 2 CDs, some shows you sell 50 CDs, but you can almost always sell 10. So maybe you should bring 20. I don't know. But I do know the more merch that you have out, the more CDs and the more choices you have out, and the more of an event you can make your merch table. And I think we've talked about this on previous shows.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is the more you're going to sell. And the best way to sell things, honestly, is not to have a merch table, but is to actually be out there in the crowd pushing the merchandise. It really is. I mean, I've talked to you before about when I was in my rock band days, and we had sexy girls, go up to all the tables of the guys with all the merch, and you better believe we sold, cases of merchandise selling it that way. I have a friend who does kids music, and in addition to his CDs, he sells toys. He has all kinds of toys starting at $1. You better believe he sells a lot of merchandise, because it's speaking to the people. So I guess it all boils back down to that one little thing that I always say is know your audience and know what they want, know what motivates them, and you should be fine.
And then give it to them.
And give it to them again. And, wash, rinse, repeat. You know what I'm saying? If it's working, keep doing it. And if it's not working, find a new way and ask people questions like us here.
That's right. I don't know. Again, yeah, you pretty much spelled it out at the beginning that we may not have a solid, concrete answer. There's a lot of nuances here, but hopefully we gave people food for thought on how to increase the odds that people will show up. And and again, I'm just going to go back to you have to sort of sometimes in your pursuit of things in life you have to let go of control. I think you'll have a lot more stress-free life if you're not attached to a specific outcome and it happening this way. Things are going to unfold the way they unfold, and sometimes you're going to be pleasantly surprised at the outcome of whatever, a gig or the number of sales from a launch or whatever, and other times it's going to be below what you had anticipated, but that's all part of the roller coaster ride of life.
Absolutely. And if you'd like to get some more information on different ways that you can get people to your shows, look back at some of our previous shows, like the fairs and festivals. We touched on that quite a bit there. We've talked about these kind of things quite a bit. Now, this is such a great topic that what we're going to do is we're going to continue this conversation today. So everybody listen carefully. At 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, 3 p.m., I'd like you all to get on Twitter and find the hashtag. It's #, MMM chat, MMM chat. And we're going to be discussing this topic today, and we're looking for people that have some advice, some ideas. We'd like to hear what you've done that works, what hasn't worked, and hopefully Jason can be on board and be part of the conversation as well. That happens today, Monday.
Yes. As long as you're listening to this on a Monday, it'll be today.
Right. Now, if you didn't listen to it on a Monday and you're listening to it Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, what I want everybody to do, let's continue the chat on Facebook at MMM Chat. It's a Facebook group and it's free. But this topic is so important, and I know that you have ideas on this subject out there. I know you do. And this is your opportunity. It's your chance to be part of the conversation, and we really, really want to help Jason and everyone else out here. Now, speaking of that, helping people out, we also have a couple of more call-ins from SpeakPipe, and we welcome your calls all the time. In fact, a new feature, I guess you'd call it, for the show is we want you to be an active member of the show, almost a guest, so to speak. So how you can do this is contact us at SpeakPipe. And Bob, where is yours again?
Mine is SpeakPipe. Yes, it's SpeakPipe, PIPE.com/Mr. Buzz Factor. It's MR Buzz Factor is where, and you can leave a digital message. You could use your smartphone. You could use your computer as long as you get a mic set up with it, but you can actually leave an audio, digital voicemail message that gets sent right to us. And then we can download that file and include it in the show like we did today with Jason.
Right. And just to let you know, next week, I believe we have Ellen Allard from ellenallard.com, and she's got some she has a wonderful question. I'm really wanting to dig into this one, and it's something I've done several times. So you'll just have to find out about that.
Okay. Yes. Let's leave it at that. Yeah. I was going to tease them, but it's okay.
And then our good friend from the UK, Rowan, is going to be in week 3. Has an incredible question, and that I know Bob has a lot of input and interest in and a lot of experience. So there's some stuff to look forward to. So if you want to be a part of the show, get on SpeakPipe and leave us your message. And we also always do take questions at Music Marketing Mind, the Facebook group, and also at Music Market Mind on Twitter, or at Mr. Buzz Factor. Is that correct?
And on Twitter, yeah, Mr. Buzz Factor on my Twitter handle, and so so interact with us.
Yes, yeah, we really appreciate it. We really do, and all the likes and all the comments and the shares. I mean, keep supporting the show. We do this totally for the love of it, and we want you guys to succeed. And speaking of that, Bob, anything you got on deck that can help people succeed for?
Yeah, I'm actually I'm doing a series of week-long sort of discounts and sales where every week I'm taking like 4 of my information products and making them available at deep discounts. And if you're listening to this on on Monday, what the heck's that date going to be? 15, like the 17th or something. It'll be the tail end of my 11/11 sale where I got like 3 courses and 1 ebook. They're only $11 each. And so take advantage of that. And there'll be another series of them starting on Tuesday for another week. And then another one after that leading up to Black Friday. So I wanted to get an early jump on this stuff, Soon they'll be doing like holiday promotions starting in July, but
I like it. I think that's great, man. Cool.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do a totally different one today. I'm not even going to do a music marketing one. Today, if you guys would be so inclined, consider Christmas gifts. And if you have children, or people that have children, or you just want to support your local library or school, jump on over to CD Baby, or better yet, go to www.mrbilly.com, MISTERBILLY, MrBilly.com, and click the music link. It'll take you to CD Baby, and there's my 28 CDs. But I'd like you to check out, I have 2 Christmas CDs, and I think you'd enjoy those. So order now for the holiday season, and I'd appreciate that. And do you still have that holiday music program, Bob?
I do, yeah. It's one of the. I don't know if it's on sale this week or next week, but yeah, it's an online course. It's a video and audio and worksheets and all that. But it's called Holiday Music Marketing, and you can go to thebuzzfactor.com, click on the books link, and I think there's an image for it in the right hand.
And it mentions me.
It does. How you earned over $3,000 with just one simple idea and one conversation that you had in a mall, and so that's one of many amazing stories and tips and ways that you can leverage the holiday season to make an impact and make some more money too.
Oh. All right, man. Well, that's it for us today for the show. Surprisingly, we went way long. Wow. Oh my gosh.
There's one question. Yes.
I'm glad we didn't try to tackle 3 today. Wow. Okay.
Yes. So thanks for listening, folks. We will see you on Twitter at 3 p.m. Eastern, right?
Eastern Standard Time.
Every Monday for the MMM chat. And otherwise, we'll be back next week with Ellen's question. And then the week after that with Rowan's question. And let's keep the train rolling, baby.
I thought it was a car.
Okay. Let's keep the car talk.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yes. All right, man. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. So long.
Vroom, vroom. Yeah.
Yeah, you wanted to do 3 questions in one show. I thought that was laughable.
Are you still there? Excellent! Now would be a good time to visit hostbaby.com for your free 30-day trial. Of course.